one thing that'll probably happen to you once you work long enough in a specific area or industry is you'll be promoted to be a manager. Mostly not because you're qualified to be a manager, but because you have the most experience. So today I want to talk about the least favorite things of mine about being a manager. Let's talk about that today. And the first place we gotta start is failures. Failures are probably one of the worst things and fears of most managers because managers own failures of anybody in their department. You can't just say like, oh, they screwed up or they screwed up. If you're a manager of a department, you own that failure. Just like success. If the department is successful, you could be proud that you have a great team, this and that. But same way as you be proud of success, you also accept failures for responsibility of your team members. And if they failed somehow, it's because you either did something or didn't do something, you didn't train them well enough or something like that. And of course, accidents happen from time to time. People make legitimate mistakes because everyone's a human, so that will happen. But when the client sees that something was done wrong or a field is missing or something like that, well, it's a failure and you're basically going to be faced with it saying, hey, this production was messed up. The next thing is firing people. Unfortunately, when you manage a team of people, there are going to be people who don't fit in the team and they have to be let go, laid off, whichever way. They should be made not be part of the team at some point. And there are kind of two sides to it, or not two sides to it, but 2 points that I have about it. One is kind of human, right? You feel really bad, or at least I feel really bad when I had to terminate somebody, lay them off, or whichever. Just as a human, you have to tell another person that they can't work there anymore. They're not going to be getting their paycheck, and they can't provide for their family, and it's just a really terrible feeling. It's like you get this feeling in your stomach that, the sinking feeling in your stomach that you get that before you have to tell someone, look, you can't work here anymore, you have to go. So that part really sucks. The other part about firing is a little bit more selfish, but I'll explain. So different companies have different ways they terminate an employee. And usually in the smaller companies, you just like tell them, hey, you're done, get out of here. And that's kind of how it's been in one of the companies I worked at, where if I wanted to get rid of somebody, we just did it and it's done and we'll move on. But at one point, human resources decided to become educated, right? And they went through all this training, how things are supposed to be done, make sure it's, the employees who left can't sue them and all that kind of stuff. And from that point on, firing somebody became an absolute nightmare. Now what I had to do is put people on performance improvement plans. And so first I had to do a verbal confrontation, then I had to do a written confrontation, a write-up of some sorts, then I had to do a secondary write-up. There had to be a plan explaining different things, and it would drag out for so long. It was just so frustrating. And I had this employee who really shouldn't have been there, right? They were not qualified for the job. And what they were doing is they would touch projects that they really had no business of touching, and they would literally ruin them for somebody. And people had to recover and undo all the stupid stuff that they've done. So it was actually hurting the company having people there. And while I had to go through this performance improvement plan of having meetings, writing things, and it took like a month and a half to 2 months to get rid of somebody. And in the meantime, they were in there, in a department, making things worse for everybody. So that was a second really frustrating thing I hated about firing people. And for the last thing that I really hate about being a manager is managing projects that I have no control over. So what's been happening in the past is sometimes I would take on extra projects, sort of they wouldn't be part of my day-to-day experience, but there would be a bigger company-wide project. So for example, when we transitioned from law to relativity, that was a huge change in the company, and I was leading that project. I took on that because I knew I'm capable of doing it. I had people I can work with to get things, figured out, and I won with it. And we did it, and it was success, right? It was a great outcome. That project was complete, and I was happy about how it went. However, what happens sometimes is you get one of those side projects and turn out to be you actually have no control over, how it's going. You have no control over participants on the project or the process itself. So that happened to me a few times where my boss asked me like, hey, can you be part of this, just kind of help it organize, make sure things are going on track? And I'm like, sure, that doesn't sound like a big deal. And then when the project starts, I'm asking like, hey, this person, did you do the write-up for this? And they're like, yeah, I'm waiting, I'm working on it. Maybe I'll have it next week. Okay, ask this person. Okay, are you working on that? Yeah, kind of, but I'm kind of too busy with something else. Ask somebody else, what are you doing about that? And they have given me like all these stupid answers. And basically, I am stuck between number of people who I'm supposed to sort of coordinate, but they don't report to me. So I can't force them to do what I need done. I can't tell them to stop their day-to-day work. I'm basically powerless. And at the same time, I'm supposed to be coordinating this big project in the company. I'm a person who likes control and efficiency. And in that project, I had none of it. We would make no progress, and I couldn't make people do anything. So what I wind up doing is just reporting to my boss, okay, this person is still writing. No, they haven't finished it. 2 weeks later. Yeah, they were too busy with this, so this person is working on that. And I was stuck on these projects that would go on for weeks and sometimes months with basically no progress. And I absolutely hated it. It was probably one of the worst things that I could have assigned myself to, or someone could have assigned me to. And of course, I extracted a valuable lesson from all this. Don't be part of a project where you can't control all the components, where you can't control people or the results of the outcome. Now, in this specific case that I was talking about, I wasn't at fault for project not moving forward. I wasn't in charge of it in a way. I was just helping coordinate. But it bothered me so much that I wanted to share that with you. So if you're a manager, what are some of the things that bother you about it the most? Put them on the comment section below. Don't forget to follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you on another video.